welcome back to another episode of the Mr. Castana podcast.
A podcast for teachers, by teachers, and anyone who's ever had a teacher. Does that make any sense? It doesn't have to. It doesn't have to. So, we're 3 weeks away from coming back to school.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, well, bittersweet. Yeah, I do miss classroom. I really enjoyed my kids last year, but maybe I could use another month.
It's good to be away for a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, it's good to be away.
I'll be fine on day one.
Yeah, but we're talking about this the other day. When we get back to school, we go through the trainings, we go through meetings and all that good stuff.
First week is a nightmare.
Yeah.
There's a lot of memes out there about it. Why don't you just let the teachers just prepare the whole week? But no.
Intentions are good, always with good intentions. But sometimes it's good just to let teachers do what they do best and plan and prep and get ready for the school year. But we're also talking about the first 2 weeks of school. And
when we actually get students. That's
Mm-hmm.
right.
And what do the first 2 weeks of school serve for you?
Well, it can serve a purpose from day one. Hey, let's get right in the material. However, every year we always deal with the complications from scheduling issues. Mm-hmm. So for the first 2 weeks, especially the first week, students are in and out, getting transferred, schedule changes. It's just an absolute mess, right?
Yeah.
And I've never done those jobs before, so I'm not sure how much of it is a mess because of them or we're just a victim of the system overall. But that's kind of what we deal with. So maybe some of us start really getting into the material maybe by the second week. If you're evil, maybe a little bit before that.
Yeah, you definitely want to be, strategic as to when you want to implement curriculum and the content. I know for a fact that I don't touch any historical content until week 2.
Same.
At the very earliest because of everything you just said.
Yeah.
But that gives us a great opportunity to do other things. So I know you're great at this, but kind of making connections with your students and building relations with your class and sort of establishing a solid rapport with them. This is a great time to do that. What kind of things do you do with your students in your class?
It mainly shows certain cultural videos or certain games to get to know each other. It just depends on the year. It depends on how I'm feeling about an hour before class starts. Then I'll adjust it. I wing everything.
Because I know one of the things that I've gotten from you is that one of the sort of activities was the personality test.
Oh, yeah.
And I always get it wrong. What's the name
The
of that?
Myers-Briggs personality test. 16personalities.com. We keep on touching feet. This is amazing.
That's great.
I don't know if you can't see the camera. Weird. Yeah. Excuse us.
Myers-Briggs.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so one of the things that I've used from you is that activity because it allows you to kind of see how different each class is. And it's a great way to sort of get kids to learn a little bit about themselves as well.
Yeah. And
you learn about them. But one of the cool things that I enjoy at the end is you get to see what celebrities have the same personalities as
yeah.
And one thing I always found interesting about that is the celebrities that share allegedly the same personalities as I do.
Uh-huh.
Steve Harvey, one of my favorites. I love Family Feud. He's original Kings of Comedy. Former President Bill Clinton. But Jennifer Lopez.
J-Lo.
Yeah. So I was like, yes.
Next level stuff.
Yeah. So I guess we have the same personality.
Driven.
Who knew?
Yeah.
I don't share the same dance moves, but I like to.
I have some. My thing, I have my own angle if that's for if I'm having an issue with a student or if I need to find a way to include a student into the culture of the class or if I just want to mess with people. So I had the entire department a few years ago do it.
Right.
And it helped me finagle or work with people different in the departments. Mm-hmm. So it kind of gives me not so much dirt, but it helps me mess with people in different ways. And if you know me well enough, that's what I do. I like to mess with people, sometimes in a professional manner, sometimes in an unprofessional manner. But prove it, right?
But yeah, that's a great activity to use at the beginning of the year. Another activity.
Anyway, sorry.
The other activity I like to use, and this is probably the one of the funnest ones I use. Well, it's one that I use throughout the year, and it's this or that. You know, you got to choose.
That's right.
You got to choose between two difficult choices.
I love this.
And so oftentimes we'll start off the year with one of them, and then later on we'll start the beginning of class with this.
I might actually steal this year because I have a couple classes of juniors.
Yes, you should.
I just don't want to be all like if you teach all juniors, you do it, and then I do it again with them their senior year, and so this can be perfect if I want to use it this year. Anyways,
as teachers, we borrow ideas all the time, and we should be borrowing ideas, right? We should
flat out stealing.
We should be able to share ideas and tweak them to our style. So we do the this or that, or sometimes we call it the would you rather, right?
Okay.
So for example, would you rather be in jail for a year, or would you rather lose a year off your life?
Man, I'd rather. I think I'd rather lose a year off my life. Why? Because whatever I did to stay in jail for a year might tarnish my reputation and my ability to do and be around certain people, because I'm an attention whore. So it might exclude me from certain conversations, or who knows, it might benefit me being in jail for a year because my brain is all over the place. I'll be able to sit there and read in peace, and I don't know. Just depends. I've never been in jail, and not a lot of people talk about it, so it's really hard to determine. But I would rather lose a year off my life. Initial thoughts. Go for it.
I think so too. Just because it's more of the quality over the quantity.
Yeah.
I don't know. I believe in that. Another example: would you rather go back to age 5 with everything you know now, or would you rather know now everything your future self will learn?
No, right now?
Yeah. So would you rather go back?
I'd rather go back.
Okay.
I can manipulate a lot of people.
Well, that kind of reminds me of the movie Back to the Future. You know, he goes back and he's got that.
Oh, that's right.
The fact that the Cubs are going to eventually win the World Series.
That's right. Biff's World.
Yeah. So I don't know. Those are just a couple examples that I use, but by far the most popular example or activity, I should say. This one I start off the year, and it's like one of those hot debates that we have, and it creates so much controversy and so much discussion. And this is one of the things that we're going to get into today.
This would get people fired up.
Oh, you'll see. Is a hot dog a sandwich?
So it is very. I'm pretty emotional about this. I'm very much a purist, and there's just two different categories. There's sandwich, hot dogs, and there's another one, hamburgers, right? You could have right away. Another thing that pops in my head is if you go to certain parts of the country, some people say, "Hey, let's get a pizza." Other people say, "Let's get a pizza." So is it pizza a pie? Pizza pie, right? Is it pizza a pie or is it pizza? Whatever. But you could get in these arguments. But the hot dog is sandwich thing, obviously we use this at the Over the Line tournament when interviewing people, and boy, did people get into it, man.
So in my classroom, the students, they have to actually do research. They have to
even better,
write their claim, and they have to support it with evidence. And so it's a great way to start the school year. And I always hook them in the sense that they want to know what I feel. And I always tell them, I'll tell you when you graduate, because usually I have them as juniors. And so I had just had a group of seniors graduate, and they reached out the day of graduation. They wanted to know, and I told them that, I won't reveal here, but what I feel about that whole debate, that whole controversy. And that's one of the things that we're going to get into today is, which kind of leads to our next sort of topic is over the line. And recently we had a chance to participate in the Over the Line tournament in San Diego, World Tournament, put together by OMBAC. And so tell us, what is OMBAC?
So OMBAC originally, of course, is the 69th year they've done it. Initially, I just thought they were joking about that, but no, this is literally the 69th. So it's an old Mission Beach Athletic Club, I believe it is. Old Mission Beach Athletic Club, and they got together, just a bunch of friends, pretty bright guys, and they started this small over the line tournament. So what is over the line? So let me go to the board here
for our visual learners.
Visual effects. Here we go.
All right.
Let's go to the board here. So we created a diagram, and of course you have this little triangle right here. And where do we bat from? We bat from about right here. Now, if we hit it over this line, it's a base hit. But then you have 3 fielders lined up in various, wherever you want to put them. If they catch it, you're out. But the idea is to hit the ball over this line. Now, if you hit it in the right side, this side of the line is foul. This side of the line is foul. If you hit it under this line and in this box right here, that's an out. That's an out, right? And you only get 2 pitches, and unless they catch and they get you out. But in a nutshell, it's a very simple game. I think it's an absolutely amazing drinking game, and there was a lot of that going on in the tournament.
So what I learned is that part of participating in OTL and what makes you, it gives you a little bit more legitimacy, is your team name, right?
Oh.
And so and I guess I'll go into sort of my initial experience about Over the Line tournament, the team names, and there's loudspeakers all over Fiesta Island.
You hear them in the background of the recordings right now a little bit.
Yeah, you'll hear a little bit, and it's just like the most inappropriate, foul team names out there. But that's the whole point, is to try to come up with something funny and inappropriate. And nobody takes offense to them because it's part of the culture, right? It's meant to sort of get you to be like, oh my God, wow. And I don't know how many times I would stop myself and turn to a friend like, did you hear that team name? It was like...
The Casey Anthony one I know scared a few people.
Yeah, I can't remember, but...
It's Casey Anthony swim instructors. That was one of the team names.
See, and that one I had to kind of... I didn't know enough about that.
I think it's the one that drowned her kids.
I didn't know.
That's what the case was. So, I mean, it's totally. I mean, we're talking about drowning kids, but at first, the shock value is like, wait, did that, somebody
shock
just say
value.
that?
Yeah, I think a lot of people go for shock value. So that definitely was one of the things that kind of stood out to me.
We get some accolades about our team name. We get a few laughs. It's pretty up there as far as average, maybe above. I want to say above average, but there is some way better team names out there.
When you told me,
very creative.
When you told me our team name, I was like, definitely not going to say it on camera. But
no, yeah, we're not.
I was.
If you know us, you'll know.
But also, it was a very festive, friendly environment. It was a great time, and I think
you saw a lot of cops there, right? And the cops weren't worried about anything.
The cops were talking to people.
Not worried about anything.
And
never any fights.
And that's part of it, is just like, no matter how competitive you are and how competitive a game gets,
the spirit of it. There's
so much. It's just friendly competition. It's a good time. We got along with our opponents afterwards. Wuhan Bats. That was one of the teams. That was the last team we played.
Not bats,
but like
the bats.
Like Wuhan Bats. But also, it's a play on words because bats. Use a bat to play. But it was cool. That was like what I definitely thought was a great time because of how festive and a friendly environment it was. And you're going to get to see that in a moment, because we took the time and the opportunity to conduct interviews.
Yeah.
And we conducted these interviews with the idea of asking them certain questions. And one of those questions we're going to ask them is, a hot dog a sandwich? Mm-hmm. And you'll see that they definitely had their own take. There was definitely moments of like debate
and one of them got pretty fiery even by the time we turned the camera off.
Oh yeah, they kept going. You'll see that one at the end. But then we also we kind of took the idea of the this or that, would you rather sort of activity that we just kind of shared, but we added our own take, because we've personally talked about this before with several of our friends and family, but we had them decide, and they had to choose. You have to choose one: Muhammad Ali or Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
And
we talked about it before. We broke it down. We did a little research, a little background, and you went Ali, but was super tight, super close. I went Tyson, but same, super tight, super tight, super close. But I could get really into that, especially if I find somebody that's being really arrogant about it. Mm-hmm. And especially the way you get about talking about Dodgers Padres, that I can get really fired up about.
So that kind of
gets me fired up. But so I need is a trigger from the right friend.
So
and boom, there it goes.
So this topic is something that we'll revisit, where we'll have, it's a segment that we talked about keeping and moving forward, is choose this or that. And Mike Tyson, Muhammad Ali was one of the first ones that we decided to share because of the fact that a lot of people are sports fans that are here, but with the exception of one of the groups that we interviewed, but we'll get to that in a moment. But it's kind of hard to decide, like, which one do you want to go with? Because personally, I can remember watching Mike Tyson fight and the excitement of before the fight, and just how aggressive a fighter. He was just a killer in the ring. Muhammad Ali, I rely on highlights and videos and stories, but personally, I went with Muhammad Ali because of he had more of the total package when it comes to a fighter, when it comes to stamina and the psychology of
And
the
he
sport.
was definitely in an era where there were some just classic heavyweights where you go to the Mike Tyson days, and I can't. And not until the end of his career, where I saw that there were actually any type of rivalries going on.
Mm-hmm.
So he definitely dominated, but to what level was his competition compared to Muhammad Ali? George Foreman when he first came up, Joe Frazier, Larry
Norton.
Holmes, Ken Norton's,
Sonny
I mean,
Liston.
these were some juggernauts.
I mean, imagine the pay-per-view that this would pull. Like, could Mike Tyson knock down and knock out Muhammad Ali? Yeah, probably. But in a fight between them, realistically, it'd be a long fight. And when you talk about the length of a fight,
that definitely
favors Ali. I think I shared this stat with you before. 41% of Tyson's fights ended in the first round. 41%. And then 12% of his fights ended in round 2. So what's that add up to? 53%. So 53% of his fights
first 2 rounds
were over in the first 2 rounds. 53%.
And
that is insane. That is insane. But I still give it to Ali. And I noticed that several people when we asked, you definitely saw like the older people
definitely leaning towards Ali.
But several did go with Tyson and were typically a little bit younger. So we want to go into the interviews, and so at this point, I will say typically we like to keep it PG-13.
They asked us like, what can we say? I'm like, you know what? Our only rule in the show is really don't get ourselves fired, right?
Yeah.
So we watch from all this and that, but they asked us, well, what can we say? I'm like, you know what, for you guys can say what you want.
So at this point, this is where we would flash the
parental discretion is advised.
So viewer discretion is advised.
Especially if you have problems with farmer's tans, because my farmer's tan.
Hey, you're rocking that pretty good.
I was.
So, hey. But yeah, there's definitely, this is the portion where they're going to express themselves, and some of their team names that they share are remember the shock value, right? And so this is what they have to say. We ask them those questions, and hey, it was a good time. So let's go ahead and take a look at what they have to say. And we didn't include all of the interviews that were recorded, only because of the audio. But the ones that we did get, these were great. So let's take a quick look here. All right, so here's this is after the first game that we played.
We dropped a 4-run lead, and we lost, I think, 8-7.
Yeah, we actually get to that a little bit later. But this is after the first game we played. Viewer discretion is advised.
Please,
All right, Poppy, where we at?
We're out here at the Overnight General World Championship in San Diego.
And we just got done getting whooped by these guys. What's your team name, guys?
And you guys played before? Yes, this is our 4th year being out here in beautiful sunny San Diego.
This is his first time. First time?
Where you guys from?
Los Angeles.
Los Angeles. What part of LA? Pasadena. Okay. And is hamburger a hot dog? No, I'm sorry. Is a hamburger? No, wait. Is a hot dog a sandwich?
Is a hot dog a sandwich?
Hot dog is sandwich.
Bread first.
Which good?
Nah, I don't think so.
Why not?
Why's that?
Like you were saying. I mean, like a sandwich is. I don't know. Fucking 2 bread and whatever. A hot dog and a hot dog is, I don't know, 2 buns.
So you say no, you said yes. All right.
One more.
Okay, last one. That's last.
Tyson or Ali? Go for it.
I guess Tyson.
Tyson?
I didn't grow up watching. I didn't grow up watching Tyson either.
No wrong answer.
There is no wrong answer.
Yeah.
There's a rock.
We're little too young for that boxing. But one, I don't want to fucking get hit by anything. But
Are they here? Hope so. Right behind you. We're getting up.
I guess all these experience is small time, right? So like I said, I don't want to get hit by people.
He said it.
Hey, thank you very much.
All right.
So you could see, and yeah, you can see my mouse back there. Here's a board, and so this is the old Mission Beach Athletic Club. So you have to go up and see where your names are on the tournament. Like we got to constantly be seeing, going up and checking. So this is the right after the first game of the day. So you see the crowds back here towards the middle. We're a little out towards the end, but even towards the end of the day, this area right here, it's hard to walk around. It looks more like. You can see the back over here. It's just, this thing's insane. I think it's the largest gathering of ongoing games at one place. It was some.
Well, this is at 8 a.m.
Yeah,
Right. The first games start
game's at
7:30 a.m. So it's an early start all throughout the day to at late afternoon, and so definitely you can see how some of the people who will show up that aren't playing, aren't participating. They start to kind of trickle in.
So these guys are actually a great example of guys that showed up. That there's your classic OTL swing. It's more like a golf swing, and then you get into these guys that we played, more of a baseball swing. So I remember the first inning they were hitting everything foul, but they get hit. So I remember thinking if they could figure out how to straighten the ball out, because this ball is really hard. It's like a softball, but it's rubber. And
my hand's not swollen anymore, but my thumb was purple. It was purple.
So,
and plus, something I forgot to mention, this is my first time ever playing OTL out there. Last time I played OTL was in high school and during PE. But I'm familiar with the game. I know how to play. I just hadn't played in so long. And that ball, man,
especially that we can use gloves. If you're in the women's division,
yeah, you can use gloves.
If you're in the women's division, you could use gloves.
We should play in that next year. I think we got a chance.
I think my wife wants to do it. We'll see how that goes. Okay.
So here's our next team. And now this team that we saw, right away when we saw them, we wanted to interview them because of their
We didn't even
outfits.
play them. And I poked at him. Like, dude, we're interviewing those guys.
Because of their outfits.
Yeah.
And so let's take a look.
All right, Nick, talk to us.
We're out here, World Championship San Diego over the line tournament, and we're here
Flashing up the shit hole.
I mean, just look at these suits. This is incredible. I saw them, and they were in like the next court over, and I told them right away, hey, we're gonna go.
And they're missing a guy. The guy that isn't seen on here, he actually went and turned in the scorecard, and he's wearing a blue tux, so it's red, white, and blue. And they kind of allude to that in a moment.
Played before, absolutely. How many years?
15 years now.
2007. Where are you guys from?
LA,
Sacramento.
Santa Maria. And they're the players. I'm their puppet.
We have a guy in blue, red, white. I didn't even catch that.
You guys have to score that?
Yeah, we'll smoke. Is very important question. Is a hot dog a sandwich?
Yes. No, I know.
I mean, so right away you get the absolutely, if not, and the other guy's like, yes, the whole time. So right away, close teammates, there's disagreement. It's a great question.
It's got bread, it's got meat. No, it's got a bun. It's also sauce. It's a bun. It's a bun, but it's got bread.
I mean, I've had a bratwurst sandwich, so I would say yes.
I mean, I think at this event, White Claw or beer, or seltzer or beer would be a hell of a debate. But anyways, I'm sure they'd have some passionate answers within itself.
Okay, if it has a bun, it's a Big Mac a sandwich? No, it's a burger.
One more. Is Tyson or Ali?
Tyson puts one. Ali would do somebody's ear.
Now, that's something we didn't include in our intro. Tyson puts more fear in people. Okay, agreed. Him and I agreed. He bit somebody's ear. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's pretty scary.
It would scare the hell out of me. He hit somebody on a plane. I'd be terrified of him. Ali would just destroy him.
Thank you very much.
Thanks so much, man. Thank you guys.
We're out here at the 69th annual.
All right, so this next part, we also, as we're walking around, there's vendors. We saw these two vendors here, and they're selling bats, official bats for OTL. So we figured, hey, you know what? Let's get a different perspective. two older gentlemen. What are their thoughts on this? So,
now, what I love about we approached them, and right away I had the thing on my phone showing them, hey, we have a podcast. We like it. 100% of everybody we went up to, yeah, let's do it. Now these guys at first they had this more business like approach because they're trying to sell bats, and they're rival companies, right?
Yeah.
But then once they heard what we're doing, and we said, yeah, we'll include you both. I mean, look at them, they're relaxed.
Yeah.
Everything's cool. It was yeah. I'm glad we interviewed these guys. Anyway, go for it.
Let's play this one through. Watch.
Tournament. Here we have Brooks Bats, Phoenix Bats. Make sure you get here. And we're here with Carrie. How long you been out here promoting it?
I'm a San Diego native.
Okay.
So I've been around since tournament pumping stuff.
Okay.
But I haven't been selling gas so much. This is my first time coming out.
All right. Out here we have David. David, how long have you been coming out into OTL tournament?
Coming out for probably 10, 12 years, 15 years, but I started selling gas about 7 years ago. That's my fun weekend job.
So one question I always ask
So the guy on the right, Phoenix Bats, we actually bought our bat from them, and it says Phoenix Bats, but the place is located in Ohio, so it took us a couple weeks to get our bats, but we were very happy with it. We went with Phoenix Bats instead of Brooks Bats, but whatever. They're still two great guys. We saw the products on the table. But so back to the question: is a hot dog a sandwich?
It's a sort of controversial topic, but is a hot dog a sandwich?
Look at him.
It's hard to answer, but
The bread is sandwich has 2 pieces of bread. Hot dog only has 1.
David, what do you think?
The answer is no. I don't have a reason, but no. Sandwich has 2 slices. Pretty much what Perry said.
Valid answer. Now, last question. You have to choose one. Ali, Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson.
Muhammad Ali. Overall, the best fighter there ever was. He fought with his feet, fought with his hands, and fought with his mind. I have to agree. Ali, because I'm older school. So.
There you have it. You heard the whole school went with Muhammad Ali as the greatest.
Yeah, those guys are cool.
So
man.
these guys, I mean, and a lot of people kind of refer to the same sort of reasoning with if a hot dog is a sandwich, and then when they go to Ali or Tyson, it's sort of the same thing. So it's interesting to see, though, like when they do disagree, what sort of reasoning they use to justify. Now, obviously, we were out there, we participated, and we couldn't go without mentioning our sponsors. And so we took an opportunity to sort of highlight one of our sponsors, and I want to give a shout out to our sponsor in this next clip.
You heard it.
Announce our sponsor for 2022 OTL Over the Line Tournament. Sponsored by my mom's Mexican Power Bars.
Now, when you first told me this,
Yep.
hey, my mom made us some power bars. I'm like, all right, cool. Wait. Made us some, and then it hit me.
Mexican Power Bars. We got chorizo con huevo, papas con chorizo, and nothing better. It's a Mexican Power Bar.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah. Taste test.
We're out here at the 69 Over the Line tournament.
So yeah, shout out to my mom. Those power bars came out.
She done it.
Yeah, she came through in the clutch. So
Done it.
eventually we played our second game, and it didn't. Well, let's let the video.
Here we go.
play.
So anyways, here's a recap of briefly after we got eliminated. We're letting our hearts settle.
Let's
Let's go.
Let's
Here we
let
go.
it explain it.
Go for it.
Just been eliminated. And it is what it is, but the first game went. The first game, we handled our business. We did it amazing. The other team came back. They caught fire. And just got beat 8-7 in the last inning. Second game though, be up for it. It was what it was. First game we had a chance, second game no chance. That's how it goes. OTL baby, 69th annual. No, that's not a joke.
So I remember. Oh, crap. You hit it.
running late, and we're asking the same question we're asking everybody here. Is the hot dog
So I just want to note that I remember the second game, the first game, I was like, man, if they can straighten the ball out, we're screwed. And don't get me wrong, we did blow a 4-run lead, and there's some things, you know, we all had our own faults in our own ways. So
Yeah.
I was kind of heartbroken. The second one, I think I was more heartbroken to the point to where I actually started to get pissed, but not at like you guys and not at my son, but more like, all right, that's it, because I think I switched to the middle. And then he started chopping towards the middle. And then what did I do? I just went up in the front, and I was so pissed, and I had enough drinks to where I caught a few of those. I caught a couple line drives.
You did you had some great catches.
I caught them, and I remember licking my hands like, wow, I caught it. And then turn around and act like everybody, mentally. Yeah, I was supposed to catch that.
Yeah,
but no, I was shocked, more shocked than anybody else there.
My hands were proof that I didn't catch those.
I did not feel good.
So, but no, it was fun though. Like your son Nicky, he man, that second game.
What did I tell you? It's like, hey, how's he gonna hit? It was
that
like, man,
second game he
got fire. You guys made some adjustments with pitch.
That first game, I was on fire. The first game,
yeah,
I felt good. I was like, all right, cool. The second game is just
I was terrible the first game. The second game, I think what happened was I started buzzing. So not only did the bat flip go, but then I started catching some balls.
We almost won too by forfeit.
The second game, that's right.
No.
Right, I remember.
We don't want to win by forfeit.
I could have pressed the issue, and I was talking to the guy. I could have pressed the issue. Hey, man, well, they're not here. But I told the guy, you know what?
No, we don't want to. We don't want to win that way.
I said we want to lose with dignity. I told the guy. I told the official. Okay, well, we'll give him a few more minutes. Yeah. But right there,
and then
they
after the game, I was like, man, we should have took that forfeit.
Yeah.
No, but it was good. So then we had a chance to talk to more people. And this next group of girls that we interviewed, they weren't familiar with like boxing much. So on the spot, I had to think of something else. And so the second question I asked them, I didn't ask them Ali or Tyson because they weren't really familiar with it. So I will ask them the question that I will ask them. But here's sort of the second half of the interviews.
It is not. It's open face. So you have toppings and the like there's a better word than innards, but it's on top. A sandwich, everything's closed between the two pieces of bread.
Okay. I have one more question because it's kind of spontaneous. You gotta choose one. This or that. Cardi B or Nicki
Minaj. Cardi B. Why is my name? My name. I mean, Nicki Minaj was like 10 years ago. Cardi's it now.
Taking shots. I love it. Taking shots.
So I asked them, as sort of a different topic, not Tyson Ali, and this kind of goes with the different topics you can use in your classroom is like popular topics like food or music or celebrities. So I asked them, you have to choose one, Nicki Minaj or Cardi B. And so one said Cardi B, one said Nicki Minaj. But the whole idea is what you want. The whole idea is to like justify why, explain yourself, and back up your reasons.
Well, honestly, I do prompts off the cuff. I just want to see people fight. That's always it's just more entertaining. Like we don't watch NASCAR to watch there is that, but most people watch that. They want to see the crash.
And that's why it gets fun because when you ask people, or when I ask my students, is a hot dog a sandwich?
I don't want to see a 15-round fight. I want to see someone get knocked out. Anyway,
they go back and forth, and it's just, and even throughout the year, because I'll post up their work, they have to create a poster or not, and when certain relatable topics come up, a kid will throw in, and that's why a hot dog is a sandwich. Or that's why it's not a sandwich, blah, blah, blah. So it's pretty funny. Now,
contributes to the year-long classroom culture.
And so this last interview, this was my favorite one. And if we could just...
We put it at the end for a reason.
Yeah, we put it at the end, but let it play through because of the fluidity of the conversation and debate. But this is the example that we were talking about, how after we stopped recording, like they literally kept going and they brought other people in. It was like, hey, come here. What do you think? And like we walked away and they were still going at it. And it was a hilarious sight to see. So this is the last interview we'll share on there. So let's take a look.
Here with Brad, Russell, and Chris. They're professional hotel spectators, right? Spectators for life.
I know they didn't say OTL player. They said professional OTL
Spectators.
spectators. And did they tell you they were professionals? Or
Yeah.
is that something you made up on the
Well,
spot?
they were when we were talking before. It's like, oh, we don't play, we watch. Also, you guys are professionals. Like, absolutely. So that's why I threw
This guy's
it.
that character. Anyway.
How many years spectating? 20 years. That's long term. So we've been asking everybody the same question. I'm gonna start with you, Brad.
Sick. Awesome.
Is a hot dog a sandwich?
Very good point.
I mean, hot dog's a hot dog.
And again, they see the guy on the left keeps going, and they continue this argument even when the camera was turned off.
Between two pieces of bread, a sandwich.
I agree with that. It's definitely a sandwich. It's definitely the fun.
So there you have it. Those are the interviews we held, and it was just funny to see how, like, people.
That would not be a sandwich either in my bun, bro. Oh, damn. There you go.
This is why this question has created so much controversy. Right? Everybody's got their own opinion. You guys have made a very valid point. Very valid point. I'm gonna finish one last question. You guys have different opinions, but here's one last one. You gotta choose one. You gotta choose one. Muhammad Ali or Mike Tyson?
Ali, oxen free. There you go. Why? Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee.
Tyson did a good job, but Ali is the king.
I think Ali has better technique. Ali's got small ears, so Tyson can't bite him off. Boom!
Red. That's a great point. Good fucking point.
Very good, Brad. Hey guys,
And a hot dog is a sandwich.
Sandwich, 100%. It's a sandwich. It's its own food group. Hey guys, thank you guys, appreciate it. Okay. That's good stuff. That's Gino. Gino.
Great stuff.
Boom. There it is.
So we got one more segment, just closing it off, and that is, what is the best thing you saw this week? So, well, you want to start with me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, the best thing I saw a week, I was going along the same lines as the one you saw, but I'm going to go with this. I get very sentimental about who I play with, whether I'm playing baseball, like in Mexicali, or whether I'm playing here. So my son agreed to play with me. So yeah, I got pretty into that. I think I was actually even nervous the first game. I don't know if it was because I was playing with my son or because I wasn't drinking yet.
Yeah.
So it's a toss up. Who knows?
That was cool.
But man, I definitely. And you even asked, hey man, asking about my son's hitting. I was like, what did I tell you? Like, I paid a lot of money for that.
Yeah,
swing.
you did, because I mean, it kind of struggled at the first, but partly because the pitching was a part of that.
Put it on
But
speakerphone.
huh?
Put it on speakerphone.
Who's that?
What? Go ahead.
Oh,
Pitching
is
party?
that your wife?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
the pitching.
Wrap it up.
We're almost home.
Okay. Okay. Give me like 50 minutes. I'm gonna run. Okay. Goodbye.
All right.
We've been summoned. So, but the other one was, of course, not only playing with my son and seeing him actually produce. I mean,
Yeah,
he was on fire the second game. Is
It was fun.
actually getting you out there. I had no idea, like, you hadn't even been to that thing
No,
yet.
never.
So once you told me you had, I was like, here we go. So are you in for next year?
Absolutely.
There it is.
I am
So
I am. Even if
see.
it's a professional spectator, I will go to play though.
there it
That's
is.
first. So the best thing I saw, and obviously it's related to this, and I have to share this image really quickly. This was the best thing I saw, because when we were
All right.
playing, I was like,
You saw some cool little thing. Wait, what's this?
so why do you think I chose this image?
Was it? Oh, you're not going to talk about the Padres in the background, are you?
No,
Whoa! What?
this guy was playing.
Wow!
If for our visual listeners, I don't know if you know what that is. It's an ankle bracelet. So this guy's out here playing OTL with an ankle bracelet. He's obviously on some kind of house arrest.
I actually
Did he
showed
get permission to play?
No,
or-
so I actually showed one of my buddies this picture.
This was.
I actually
wow.
showed my buddies this about the ankle bracelet thing.
Yeah.
And he's a cop. It's like, dude, can you fake this? Can you reach? Like, no, that looks legit. And the only way to get it off is to actually break it. So I'm not sure how this worked. I'm not sure if they rigged it or whatever, but this was definitely one of the coolest things. I saw other cool things that I can't mention on camera, but this is definitely up there with one of the coolest
Yeah.
things I've seen all weekend.
So I saw that. I was like, I have to take a picture
Yeah.
of this. And
yeah, well,
that's how much OTL this tournament means to people.
So,
that
yeah,
they're willing to obviously leave home on house arrest.
going back
play.
to that old question is, would you rather be in jail for a year or take a year off for life? Well, he chose to be. Well, there you
he
go.
chose
right?
life.
Uh-huh.
He chose life, absolutely. So
Yeah, so-
that was the best thing I saw.
He's gonna get one more year than we are.
Yeah, well, good for him. Good for him. So, but yeah, that was a good way to sort of introduce this ongoing segment of this or that. You got to choose one or the other, and we have a lot of interesting topics to go with in the future. So,
Looking forward to it.
I can't wait. I can't wait with that. So,
So man, it was again we got this is I think I played like 7 times, and this is only the second time we got knocked out 0-2, and we actually did have a decent team.
yeah,
It's just kind of who you play against, who you line up against,
Yeah.
whether you're going or miss. There's so many things that could go either way. But for me, I remember right away, hey, there's a chance we could be 0-2 and be eliminated.
Yeah.
But what did I tell you? It doesn't matter because we're still. There was another group of friends that we were with that day.
That's just
and
the way
like
the
we're
cookie
just gonna
crumbles.
follow them around
Yeah.
and we're gonna drink anyway.
Yeah.
And that's
It was a
exactly
good time.
how it went. Yeah.
good time. But all right, Papi, this was fun.
Shout out to OMBAC.
We'll be back with another episode pretty soon. All right.